everybody. I'm here with Kenny Atkins, and Kenny is a former lifeguard in Los Angeles, and he had Intacs for keratoconus, but he's not just any Intacs patient for keratoconus. He's the very first patient in the United States that had Intacs for keratoconus exactly 20 years ago.
Right.
1999. He was my first patient, and that's how I pioneered Intacs for keratoconus. So he's a pioneer.
That's me.
So back then, why don't you just share a little bit of like what you were thinking when you had this procedure? And I told you, I said I had never done this before on anybody with keratoconus. I'd done Intacs for nearsightedness, but I explained I had never done it for keratoconus. And what were you even feeling back then? Because knowing you were kind of going into new uncharted territory.
Well, I wasn't really afraid of doing the procedure, but I had already been turned down twice for LASIK. And I was getting to a point where contacts were not really something that was a viable option for me lifeguarding. And wearing prescription glasses, knowing that I was going to be throwing them on the sand every so often when I went in for rescues, that wasn't really an option either. And so I was looking for something that was different from that I could still lifeguard and still see very well. And I was really ready for just about anything, and that's why I accepted.
You know, it's interesting because I will never forget, I came home after seeing you for the one-day checkup, right? I came home and I told my wife what we had just done, and I said, these results are amazing.
Yeah.
Because you had this amazing improvement in your vision,
yeah,
based on your stage of keratoconus. I mean, everybody has different expectations. Now that we've got 20 years, we know. But in your case, you had this amazing result at the one day.
Yeah,
I was so
I remember
impressed.
driving home, actually, or not driving home, but driving home with my wife. And the patch had just come off, and I was looking around saying, this is better than, here it is one day after the surgery, and I'm seeing better now than before I went in. Wow. I was really, really happy at that point.
Yeah. And, it's interesting because had it been somebody different, I may have had a different impression, right at that first time. But it was you, and it just really impressed the heck out of me. And that's what made me feel I'm going to continue working with this procedure for keratoconus.
Well, I'm glad that that I was able to do that for you. It was strictly personal for me. I wanted to be able to see better. But if I can be, as you say, a pioneer, but to the benefit of other people. Really, when you look at it, being a lifeguard, that was my life, and so anytime I can help, I'm a happy camper.
Right. Well, you definitely helped, because you helped me in my career to help pioneer this, that helped other people have this procedure and have their vision improved and their life improved and quality of vision and achieve their goals that they wanted to. So yeah, it's just really great, and it's hard to believe it's been 20 years.
Yeah, when you said that, it really, it has been 20 years, and and I see as good now as I could, right after the surgery. I still feel like it's doing what it was supposed to do then.
Yeah. Now I'm going to tell you something. I then started presenting my results at scientific meetings, right? That's what you usually do.
Yeah.
And I was it was a meeting in Europe. It was in Vienna. Okay, so I was at a meeting in Vienna presenting my scientific results of what we've been doing with Intacs for keratoconus. And I had a coffee with a female colleague who's from New York. I'll never forget this. And it was probably after I'd been doing this for a few years, maybe 2 or 3 years. So it's still relatively new. And we're talking, and she's like, "You still doing Intacs for keratoconus?" And I said, "Yeah." She says, "How is it going?" I'm like, "I'm really happy with the results. Patients are really getting a great improvement." And I'll never forget, she says to me, she says, "This isn't going to last long. It's going to be a flash in the pan." Like so many other procedures we've seen come and go, which is true. In ophthalmology, you know, it's almost like there's a flavor of the year in terms of the new procedure for something, and then it fizzles out and, you know, goes to the ophthalmology graveyard.
Right.
But I knew that I'm seeing these results, and there's no way this thing is just going to fizzle out. Like, this is going to be here to stay.
It's definitely an option. It's definitely something that, you know, as new advancements come in, there's always going to be somebody that's going to need this procedure. You know, it's definitely stable. So.
Well, I'm just so thrilled that we have this special bond.
Yeah.
You know, it reminds me of the bond I have with Stephen Holcomb.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was the cross-linking, the Holcomb C3R cross-linking procedure bond with him as a pioneer who helped legitimize the procedure, because that was also preventing people from having cornea transplants.
Right.
And I had cornea transplant surgeons attacking me, trying to discredit this procedure because it was threatening their practices of doing cornea transplants.
Yeah.
And although Stephen wasn't the first patient to have that procedure, but he was the one when he won that gold medal at the Vancouver Olympics in 2010, and my family and I were there watching him do this. He, because of all the media attention, turned that tide.
Absolutely.
Against the procedure, and here that procedure is now about 16 years.
Well, when you think about it, a lot of people look at an Olympian, you know, number one, and the sport that he was in, you're going fairly fast.
Yeah, over 90 miles an hour.
Yeah, and to be able to react quickly like that, how could you refute something like that? How could you say that it isn't working for him?
Exactly, and that's what really silenced a lot of the critics, because, you know, basically the procedure had an Olympic gold medal behind it.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, exactly. How do you refute that?
Yeah, and when he was saying that he couldn't have competed if he didn't have it.
Right. So there's only, I mean, every patient's very special to me in our practice, but there's a few people that are extra special, and you're one of them, and it's really an honor.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah.
We'll see you for your annual exam next year.
I can't wait.
Bye, everybody.